today. UFC Paris went down over the weekend, and we may have witnessed the GOAT crowd, the greatest crowd of all time to be at a live UFC event. We also witnessed what happens when the UFC matchmakers send a guy in there to take a L, to go ahead and send these fans home happy, and that guy takes the L. And I'm talking to you, Johnny Walker. Because you were put in that position, and all you had to do was go out there in the main event and do one of your flippity-floppity KO losses and fall on the ground. But no, this time you just got to go out there and you just got to have a chin, Johnny Walker, and then nobody went home happy. Disgust me. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt, and we're here to go over UFC Paris, where in the main event, we saw Nassourdine and Imavov go out there and defeat Caio Borralho. Look, man, looking at that fight, it was 5 rounds. I can only find one round that Caio won. That's just putting it point blank, period. Shout out to Nassourdine. You know, I really think that a lot of us saw his win over Adesanya not as a fluke, because it definitely was a skilled win, but a lot of us kind of look at Izzy like, bro, his best years are definitely behind him. So we put weight in it, but more weight in the name than in the actual win. But shout out to Nassourdine. The man leveled up. There was not a part of this fight that he was really ill-equipped or losing at. He was equipped for whatever was going to come at him on the ground, which I didn't necessarily think was going to happen. He was equipped for absolutely everything Caio did on the feet. Nassourdine was constantly a step ahead. He goes out there, he gets the win. And I mean, honestly, man, he's got to be in the driver's seat to go out there and face Khamzat Chimaev. You know, I mean, I know we got this fight with Fluffy Hernandez and RDR coming up, but dude, you know, after seeing that clinic that he put on Caio, you know, you got to give the nod to Nassourdine. Now, I don't know how he's going to fare against Khamzat. That would be interesting, but you got to give the nod to Nassourdine. He goes out there, he gets the win. I'd love to see him be next to fight for the middleweight championship, but we will see, because the UFC is in the business of making money, and if they see another fight that's going to make more money, they're going to lean into it. But shout out to Nassourdine. What a performance. He was not losing at any part of this fight. His striking was so sharp. It was crisp. His shot selection as far as his strikes was perfect. And his speed was on point. He looked faster that night than I've ever seen him. So shout out to Nassourdine. He goes out there and gets the win. How about the co-main event where BSD, Benoit St. Denis, goes out there and puts a clinic on Mauricio Hoofy? You know, this is another fight, and shout out to Coach Den Thomas, who comes on the broadcast for the UFC and gave the perfect analysis for the first round. I believe this was the downfall of Mauricio. When that fight began, BSD caught this man with a devastating body kick. And it was so swift and so early in the fight and so abrupt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one saw that coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he telegraphed it. And Hoofy was just never the same after that. And BSD kept crowding him. Hoofy never had a chance to settle into his stand-up. You know, BSD never wavered. He never paused for a moment, which would allow Mauricio Hoofy to get into his game and begin to bounce on his toes and to begin to find his range. BSD just kept crowding him and rushing him and moving forward on him, and he never had the chance to get set up. And from there, BSD goes ahead, taps him out, second round submission. Shout out to BSD. We'll see where he goes from here. What a moment, I'd like to say, for these French fans. You know, just a GOAT crowd, bro. I mean, the loudness, if that's even a word, the levels, the decibels that the UFC kept talking about they were breaking, that these people were shouting and screaming and singing songs, and they sung the national anthem. I mean, it was an amazing thing to see. You know what I'm saying? Definitely the UFC needs to get back to Paris as many times as they can each year, because if you're not a mixed martial arts fan and you're flipping through the channels and you turn this on and you see this roar of this crowd and the singing of these songs and everything, man, it taps you right into it. You get right into it. You're instantly locked in, where every time a French fighter lands a blow or lands like they're even skilled. The fans are even skilled in recognizing transitions and movements on the ground and people beginning or trying to move toward a submission. Very educated fans, outstanding. And they got another one with BSD. He goes out there, he gets a win. Shout out to him. We'll see where he goes at 155. Then we had Modestas Bukauskas goes out there and defeats Paul Craig and retires him. Look, man, shout out to Paul Craig. This wasn't an outcome that we did not see coming. I didn't know if he was actually going to retire yet, though, so shout out to him. He gave us some outstanding fights. I'll never forget when he broke Jamal Hill's arm. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Paul Craig as he rides off into the sunset. I don't know if there's any sort of a job they could give him in the UFC, because you don't want Paul Craig on the desk, because that accent is thick. You know what I'm saying? It's Jiffy peanut butter mixed with Skippy peanut butter. Choosy moms choose Jif, and that accent is thick. So I don't suggest they put him on the desk, but nevertheless, shout out to him. Shout out to Modestas as he moves on, as he defeats Paul Craig. So we'll see who they throw him in there with next. How about Okai goes out there and takes an L to Mason Jones? Okai goes out there, and the first round, he put it on Mason Jones, and it was like you're watching it, and any second, you thought this fight was going to be over, but not so fast. Mason Jones, he's a new, rejuvenated fighter. He's a new Mason Jones, you know what I'm saying? This is MJ, you know what I'm talking about? And dude, this dude, he's coming back with a vengeance. Shout out to him, man. I thought he was going to take an L in this fight, but he's back with a vengeance, man. It's 2 fights he's won since his return to the UFC. We'll see where he goes from here. How about Axel Sola goes in there with Reese McKee? Reese McKee, bro, put on a clinic. First round, second round, and then third round, he gets caught, KO'd. It was one of those things where Reese McKee doesn't get a lot of wins in the UFC, if any at all. You know what I'm saying? But it looked like he had one, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, bro. Third round KO. Sola moves on. French fans excited. Outstanding. William Gomez versus Robert Arokla. Look, man. Robert came to fight, bro. It was definitely more of a back and forth fight than I thought it was going to be, because the grapplings, the crowding by Robert, really trying to make it a dirty fight, dirty boxing up against the side of the cage. It was a lot for William Gomi to go out there and get the win, but he pulled it off. He gets the win. Typical of him, he gets the win by decision. Still love seeing his stand-up. Still love seeing the way that man fights. He's very technical, very strategic, very interesting to see, man. But William Gomez, he goes out there, Gomi, I should say, goes out there, gets the win, he moves forward. How about Omar C? He goes out there, he defeats Brenderson Ribeiro. Another fight that we knew the outcome. We knew this was going to happen. What we didn't know is that the French fans were going to be that into it, and that they were going to be that loud, and that they were going to sing their national anthem and just be rabid fans. It was awesome to see. Shout out to Omar C. As he goes out there, he gets a win. You know what I'm saying? Another finish for him. First round. Outstanding. Another action-packed fight. How about this? Marcin Tybura goes in there with Anta Delia. Yo, Anta D'Elia had one of the feel-good moments of the night. They tell his story. They talk about his long road to make it in the UFC. They talk about his horrible leg break where he got his leg Anderson Silva'd, you know. And they talk about his connections with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's in the crowd. The French fans are booing him because they're there for Cyril Gane. But, man, Anta D'Elia goes out there, did exactly what everyone thought. This dude, he's a heavyweight, but his punch speed is like that of like a middleweight almost. Like, this dude has some fast hands, bro. And he goes out there rapidly throwing those punches, and Marcin didn't know what hit him. He didn't know. He was not, you could tell Marcin Tybura, you could tell homie was not expecting those rapid punches coming at him that early in the fight. And D'Elia goes out there and gets the win, man. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? How about Fernandez versus Harry Hardwick? Harry Hardwick took this fight short notice, few days, like 4 days notice, but bro, Fernandez has some of the most devastating leg kicks you will ever find. He throws his entire leg, his entire shin. He cares nothing about his ankles, breaking his foot. He throws it all in there. And this was just, after about the second leg kick, you knew where this was going. And after the first leg kick, you felt the pain in your own leg while you sitting on the couch having a beer. You know what I'm talking about? You felt the pain. You felt it deep down in your soul, in your shin. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Fernandez. He goes out there and gets the win. Sam Patterson KOs Trey Waters. That was another interesting fight. Trey Waters was trying his best to do his best Anderson Silva impression with his hands down and trying to use head movement. And he was trying to use that to kind of counter strike. It did not work. Sam Patterson KOs him, gets a major win. How about old Brad Tavares? Finally, you know, I've been fading Brad Tavares for the last couple years, and he keeps on making me lose that bet. And so I finally decide not to fade him, right? I finally decide not to choose against him. And he goes out there and he finally takes an L. Like, I've been picking him to take L's for like his last 3 or 4 fights. And then finally, I don't bet on him, and he goes out there and takes a L. Nevertheless, Brad Tavares takes a L to Robert Brejček. Andreas Gustafsson gets KO'd quickly by Renat Fakhrenat. Look, man, Gustafsson, bro, he's allergic to stand-up defense. I mean, that homie, he ain't blocking no shots. That homie just comes in swinging, and he ain't worried about blocking no shots at all. He's all open. You know, he's DTF on the first night. You know what I'm saying? That homie, he's taking all shots. Nevertheless, Renat Fakhrenat goes out there and gets the win. And then finally, another fight we already knew the outcome of. Mama B, Shauna Bannon, goes out there and takes another large L to Sam Hughes. Shout out to Sam Hughes. She goes out there and gets the win. You know, post-fight speech, dropped the USA up in this hole. That was kind of cool to see or hear. Nevertheless, man, outstanding card. The fans, the crowd really made this card. Can't wait to see when they go back to Paris. Got to pencil that one in on the calendar. It's going to be awesome to see, you know, straight up. This week, we have UFC Noche going down later this week. So we're going to have some coverage for UFC Noche. So I'll be right back with y'all. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. And once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.